mission was simple. Do absolutely everything that Falling to Vegas and its DLC has to offer before meeting with Benny for the first time, and then annihilate him. Falling to Vegas is one of my favorite games of all time. It's addictive, engrossing, and often surprising in how much it respects the player. The world building and lore is top-notch. The nature of completing quests and gaining experience points and new gear creates little dopamine rushes that make hour-long tasks feel like minutes. There's something about the aesthetics, the design, the HUD, the mechanics of the game which aren't necessarily perfect but comfortable perhaps. The game doesn't throw many curveballs at you. Once you find your footing, it's like riding a bike through your old neighborhood. That goes for your first playthrough or your 10th. But I've played the game more than 10 times. I needed a different angle to my most recent playthrough. I needed to do everything. Absolutely everything the game has to offer before I met Benny. And then hopefully, at level 50, I'd be able to properly handle business with our favorite checkered suit-wearing friend who shot us in the head. Falling to Vegas is not a very hard game. Its difficulty comes in deciding how you want to approach some of the side quests or main questline, or navigating Fault 22. Barring a few Deathclaw and Cazador encounters, it's a rare occasion that you'll perish in a combat scenario. That's why I decided to play the game on very hard difficulty with hardcore mode activated. It doesn't make this game Dark Souls level of difficult, and it isn't a gaming achievement worth bragging about, but it was really fun. It also added a lot more content to my experience. For example, you know those hit squads that the NCR or Caesar's Legion send after you if you get on their bad side? How they're pretty much a joke, a veritable loot drop? Well, on hardcore mode, they're a serious threat. If you wander into the wastes unprepared, or displease the NCR or Caesar's Legion at an early level, these guys will ruin your day. At my earlier levels, I fought tooth and nail with these guys, using every explosive, medic, psycho, and special ammunition in my arsenal, and they'd still kill me. There were probably good 2 or 3 gunfights with these guys that took over 10 tries to survive, including keeping my companions alive. Yes, companions permanently die in hardcore mode. Once, when I was ambushed by legionnaires near Helios 1, I drew them into a gunfight with the NCR garrisoned at the solar-powered station so that I'd have backup. It's moments like this where, a story is created out of the unforeseen, unscripted circumstances that a game like Falling to Vegas can shine through its flawed combat system. Other combat scenarios demanded proper planning and preparation. Sniping enemies from afar and laying mines became very important. And, after every one of those gunfights, and any combat, the looting was made all the sweeter. Due to the increased difficulty, and hunger, thirst, and sleep stats, I found myself carefully investing into my character's skills and perks, tailoring a build that would be both functional in early game and powerful in late game. I actually put quite a few points into this survival skill so that I could craft special items, food, and armor late into the game, such as the all-powerful Gecko-backed leather armor reinforced. With hardcore, alcoholic drinks and magazines increased dramatically in value. These added survival elements are never overwhelming, but rather they open up a whole layer of mechanics that were previously shrouded in unnecessity due to the relative easiness of Falling to Vegas' traditional experience. Hardcore mode never feels like a tacked-on feature. It feels like any other part of the new Vegas experience. It scales wonderfully with your progression in the game. In the beginning, you're sipping from irradiated toilet bowls and looting dirty waters from everybody you find. Later on, you purchase the finest purified waters and Brahmin steaks from a number of vendors within New Vegas. No more late nights in motel rooms in Novak, you're sleeping in presidential suites in the Strip. It's really incredible how integrated the hardcore experience is with the rest of the game, its other RPG and combat mechanics. In fact, it only enhances both of these elements. Now, you might be asking, why would I waste time when I can just finish the game on normal mode? And you'd be absolutely right. You're allowed to play however you want. It's an open world game with many ways to play. Just consider giving hardcore very hard a shot on your next playthrough. Stick with it, and you'll have a blast. You might also wonder why I keep coming back to this post-apocalyptic cowboy shooter. Firstly, as I mentioned before, it's a comfortable game. I understand how it works, what I need to do, and how to execute it. Secondly, it's just really fun. And somehow, despite all this, I'm still learning new stuff with every playthrough. Through the increased difficulty, I discovered that shotguns in this game are absolutely busted. There's so many great perks that support them. Increased armor penetration, knockback, increased damage, everything you need from a weapon. And there's many variants of shotguns, though the riot shotgun takes the cake. I learned that agility and speed related perks are super underrated. If you've played the game as much as I have, it can feel a little maddening that there isn't a sprint option to travel faster. Agility and light armor are the answer to that. They transform you into a Mojave Marathon runner. In this playthrough, I was moving faster while crouched than the running speed of some of my other playthroughs. The additional AP doesn't hurt either. In terms of discovery, I found an entirely new location that I haven't found before, one that is apparently called Deathclaw Promontory. I'm still surprised that I missed this location through so many playthroughs, but it is unmarked and hard to spot. It's a small patch of land on the eastern side of the Colorado River, which I thought was otherwise inaccessible, save the fort and the Legates camp. There's a ton of Deathclaws there, as the name suggests, as well as a ton of loot. The DLC played as usual. I have the Courier's Stash DLC installed, but I dropped all of my goodies off in Doc Mitchell's house before setting off, besides the trusty Vault 13 canteen. As usual, Gunrunner's Arsenal added a ton of great weapons for me to blow my caps on. I played Dead Money at a pretty early level, and it surprisingly wasn't as difficult on hardcore very hard as I thought it would be. I think there was a mechanic that caused you to take constant damage while outside, and the enemies were still pretty tough, but my high agility, high survival skill character was more than prepared to face the challenges of the CRM Madre. Old World Blues and Lonesome Road were still fantastic, with some really tough combat encounters. The giant Robo-Scorpion boss of Old World Blues got me a couple times before I emerged victorious. The optional, highly irradiated, dangerous areas in Lonesome Road were a breeze by the time I encountered them. Honest Hearts felt the most difficult. The limited gear, savage Yao Guai, and hard-hitting white legs all combined for a challenge I had not anticipated. And, as we wrapped back to Benny, I also discovered some interesting stuff regarding him in the main questline. Get this, you can actually beat the game without meeting Benny. I was able to fight through Hoover Dam, as you're seeing here, without ever stepping to Benny's corner of the Tops Casino. I sided with the NCR this playthrough, and turns out you don't even need the Platinum Chip at all. You can complete the main story through the NCR without ever hearing about the Platinum Chip. By the time I met Benny, I had already cleared Cottonwood Cove, so in an interesting glitch, the Legionnaire boatman never showed up to ferry me to the fort, even when I had the quest prompt that he was there. I guess I burned one too many bridges with the Kaiser. There's so much more I could talk about with this playthrough. I have many praises for this game and many criticisms, but this playthrough was a blast, really. All 80 hours of it. But, eventually, we all have to face our destiny. Look, there he is. It's been such a long time. Now, I did try diplomacy at first, but that quickly turned into a fistfight against the entire Tops Casino. After 5 minutes of brutal combat, I died, and Benny got away with a sliver of health remaining. Next, I tried the old guns blazing method, but that quickly turned into diplomacy. Not sure how that happened. Under the barrage of gunfire, I strolled behind Benny to the Tops presidential suite, where we hashed things out. And by hash things out, I mean I took his head off. Things were not good though. I had a reputation on the Tops that I didn't want to squander. The showdown still had to happen though. I wanted my retribution, and I wanted it to be explosive. So I went to Gunrunners, where I dropped a few caps on a new toy. After that, I traveled to the Tops, said all the things security wanted to hear, then, real stealthily, I snuck my fat man out of the security locker and marched upon Benny's posse, where I finished the job. After 50 levels, after completing the main quest and every side quest, after discovering everything, doing everything, I took my shot. My character died. The deed was done. Done my way. And I could finally lay this playthrough to rest. Thank you for watching this video. Drop a comment, a thought, a personal anecdote, criticism, anything down below. I want to hear what you guys think, and others will too. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I'll be uploading weekly content about writing, literature, and other items that may acquire my interest. You can find links to my website, where I upload some of my own writing, including scripts of my own videos such as this one, additional commentary, short fiction, poems, blog posts, and more. There are also links to my Twitter and Instagram, where you can keep up with daily posts and continue the conversation, as well as a link to my Fiverr page, where I do commission work for writing, editing, and miniature painting. I hope you have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care of yourselves, and do some good in this world.